Content warning. Paradox Live includes themes of trauma, child abuse and neglect, violence, suicide, death, human experimentation, and gang activity. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey there, heads. Welcome back. I took some time to spice up my PNG, so I look a bit different. I hope it's at least more fun to look at than the little dude I had on screen before. Now that I've got 700 some subscribers, I thought it'd be a really good idea to improve my presentation. That said, thanks so much to everyone who subscribed, liked, and commented on my videos to this point. I really appreciate you all for humoring me and listening to me info dump about this niche media project that I just really happen to like talking about. And on that note, let's get into it. Following the release of the live drama, Avex announced that there would be a Shuffle Team show event, in which the members of the original 4 units would be regrouped and perform songs in these other units. The way the Shuffle Team units were chosen was through an election process, just like with the stage shows. There were 16 proposed units, presented in 4 groups of 4, in which each group would have 2 winners. The groups were as follows. Group A contained Alan and KANATA, the Grown-Ups, Rooftop Friends, and the Cooks. Group B contained Club Candy Gang, Old Buddies, Tall Height, and the Stroll Combo. Group C contained High School Gang, Hajun and Ryu, Fashionistas, and Ann and Satsuki. Group D contained Noble and Rats, 17-year-olds, New and Classic, and the Leaders. Ultimately, some of the winning teams would be given new names, and we also received a bonus team that wasn't previously included, mostly because Hokusai managed not to be in any of the winning Shuffle teams. The final results that would be featured in the 2 Shuffle Team show albums would be New and Classic, Club Candy, Rooftop Friends, Lolipop Universe, SUZAKU and KANATA, Beauty and Beast, Yonpachi and cozmez, Double Trouble, and Hokusai with AkanCATsura. Each Shuffle team then got 1 song and 1 short droppa that follows the team's creative process. Within the framing of the universe, this Shuffle Team show idea arose during cozmez's victory party. The different characters drew lots and were allowed to pick and choose teams for themselves and others for the purpose of creating new songs. The first Shuffle Team on the album is New and Classic, the unit made up of Simon, Yohei, Hajun, and Alan. They perform a song of the same name, and their droppa centers around the different approaches Bae and the Cat's Whiskers have in terms of music creation. Simon and Yohei have come to the apartment shared by the members of Bae to work together on a song. While working, Yohei and Hajun begin to prepare sweet and sour pork for dinner. Hajun wants to add pineapple to the dish, explaining that the sweetness will improve the flavor and the acid in the fruit will also tenderize the meat. Yohei believes that tradition should be valued and that chasing every newfangled idea is going to result in a mess without a sense of identity. Meanwhile, Alan and Simon chat amiably about the pros and cons of tradition and innovation, while their feistier counterparts exchange insults in the background. Eventually, Simon urges Yohei and Hajun to make peace and to prepare the dish separately, half with pineapple and half without, so that everyone can sample both. With this compromise, Yohei and Hajun relent, and Alan excitedly remarks that once they've eaten, they should start work right away as he's gotten an idea for a song. The next Shuffle Team is Club Candy, a unit made up of Zen, Iori, Ann, and Satsuki. They perform the song Gira Gira Candy Night, or Sparkling Candy Night, and their droppa follows the 4 of them enjoying drinks, non-alcoholic for Satsuki, after a shift. After toasting Ann's contributions to the breaking of another sales record, the group contemplates the kind of song that they should make together. They feel that a high-energy song would be best for them, and so Zen naturally proposes a song about working out. While Satsuki's enthused at the concept, Iori and Ann quickly veto this idea, much to the others' disappointment. Iori and Ann then brainstorm creating a flashy, sexy song to use as the club's theme, and this is ultimately adopted as the group's end goal. The next Shuffle Team is Rooftop Friends, a unit made up of Nayuta and Shiki. They perform the song Rooftop, and their droppa outlines an interaction between them as they try and create a song together. Ryu intrudes as the 2 of them are brainstorming in the apartment above Bar 7-4. Shiki is apologetic and hesitant, and when Nayuta asks him what he wants to do in their song, Shiki insists that they can do whatever Nayuta wants. This frustrates Nayuta and he leaves. Ryu apologizes to Shiki for upsetting his friend, but Shiki insists that it's not his fault. Instead, he goes after Nayuta so as to solve the matter immediately. He finds Nayuta up on the rooftop where they used to spend time together, and Shiki apologizes for holding back his thoughts. He says he really wants to create a song with Nayuta, dispelling the latter's doubts that he actually wanted to at all. They decide to work on their song at their old hangout, determined to rewrite their bad memories with only good memories moving forward. The final shuffle team on the first album is Lolipop Universe, the fashionista unit made up of Anne, Reo, Ryu, and Nayuta. They perform the song Jump Into My World, and their droppa follows the members hanging out and chatting aimlessly together, much to Nayuta's continued dismay. They start out at a picnic, where Anne, Reo, and Ryu all go back and forth on everything from the mat they're sitting on to the limited edition drinks provided by Ryu. They take pictures and selfies for social media, all while Nayuta is reluctantly pulled along, asking why they don't just start working on the song. Anne insists that they should get to know each other before getting to work, and they all begin to discuss fashion. It's revealed that Ryu and Nayuta are both able to sew, while Reo and Anne are primarily coordinators. While Ryu tosses his jacket onto Nayuta, Anne and Reo praise him for looking good in oversized clothing, and also for his ability to create the costumes worn by himself in KANATA. Nayuta's bashful and tries unsuccessfully to draw their attention back to the song. He is then dragged along with the others to karaoke instead. The first shuffle team on the second album is SUZAKU and KANATA, made up, of course, of Alan and KANATA. They perform the song Sound of Voltage, and the droppa features an excited Alan intruding on the lives of KANATA and Nayuta. The scene opens up with the twins enjoying a lazy day in their apartment. The sound of footsteps and knocking breaks the peace, and just as the boys prepare to bolt, they hear Alan's voice coming through the door, eager to collaborate with KANATA on their song. Nayuta slips out, but KANATA is bound by the commitment he made to an intoxicated Alan at the victory party. Alan unpacks his track-making gear, and the two of them end up working fairly well together. Alan earnestly praises KANATA's process and says he's wanted to write a song with KANATA ever since the first time he heard cozmez's music. KANATA in return says he's surprised that Alan's kept up with him and that his music isn't horrible. Alan is invigorated by this tentative praise, and upon remarking that it's gotten late, he pulls out his sleeping bag, which he brought so that they could compose all night. KANATA immediately yells at him to get the hell out of the apartment. The next shuffle team is Beauty and Beast, made up of Anne and Satsuki. They perform the song Why Do You Like Me, and the droppa follows Satsuki preparing to meet Anne for their collab. Anne is running late for their meeting, and upon arriving, Satsuki reassures them that it's not a big deal, though he hates to waste time they could have spent together. His suaveness prompts Anne to tell him to close his eyes, saying that there's something they want to tell him. But unfortunately, Satsuki wakes up to Zen, calling for him to get out of bed. Satsuki realizes that he slept late and rushes off to meet with Anne so that they can work on their song. When he reaches their meeting point, Anne is in fact running late. Their interaction briefly follows the events of Satsuki's dream, with Satsuki being noticeably less charismatic than in his fantasy. When Anne asks him to lean forward, Satsuki eagerly puckers up. Anne, however, was just trying to fix his bedhead for him and asks why he's making such a weird face. They then continue to fix his collar, saying that if he wants to be seen with them, he should be presentable, and teasingly adds that it feels like they're on a date. Satsuki stammers and sputters, but promises ultimately to show Anne his cool side. The next shuffle team is Yonpachi and cozmez, made up of Hajun, KANATA, and Nayuta. They perform the song Rats and Nobles, and the droppa features Hajun taking the twins to a fancy restaurant. It seems that this group was formed by Yori, whose shit-stirring nature was surely satisfied by the annoyance of all those involved. KANATA and Nayuta are initially cynical of accepting Hajun's invitation to such a high-class restaurant, criticizing the portion sizes and flavors of the food served to them. Hajun, in turn, watches with great amusement as they eat without refinement. For example, when the twins comment that they could probably fill their pockets with the bread offered alongside the meal, and Hajun insists that they at least ask the waiter to package it, as he refuses to be seen with them doing such a thing. After they leave the restaurant, KANATA and Nayuta say that the food was all rather new to them, and so it wasn't a complete loss. Kanata also says that he really enjoyed drinking the lemon-flavored water served in a bowl, and Hajun tells him that he'd been drinking out of the finger bowl intended for cleaning his hands. Hajun snidely remarks that they must have been too hungry to care about how they really looked while eating, and then makes a swift exit as the twins fume about his blatant insults. The next shuffle team is Double Trouble, made up of Iori and Yohei. They perform a song of the same name, and the droppa contains another flashback to their teenagers in the gang. The two men are composing their song together, smoking at Bar 7-4. After a bit of banter, they share a drink, and Iori comments that Yohei, who he calls Dana, knows him better than anyone else. The flashback begins with the two arguing about Iori's handling of a situation. It appears that he killed a member of Suiseki-gumi who was embezzling some gang money. Yohei insists that Iori was overreacting, but Iori coldly insists that the man deserved it if he would do something to harm Oyaji, or the gang's boss. I feel like I should point out that at this point, Iori and Yohei are anywhere between 15 to 16 years old. The two would ultimately begin fighting each other, and Iori in the present recalls that when the boss saw them bruised and scuffed after their fight, he whooped them both again. He continues, saying that Yohei's gotten soft, but Yohei shoots back, saying that Iori is completely different than he was back then too. They then decide to drink and reminisce some more, to make up for lost time. The final shuffle team is Hokusai with AkanCATsura, made up of Hokusai, Reo, Shiki, and Ryu. They perform the song Chillin', and the droppa shows the four of them all hanging out together. It opens with Hokusai and Shiki defeating Reo and Ryu at a video game. Though Shiki is hesitant to accept praise, Hokusai thanks him for his help and pats his head. Just as Hokusai wonders if they should start working on their song, he receives a call from Zen and has to step out of the room for a moment. This allows Ryu, Reo, and Shiki to chat amongst themselves about how kind Hokusai is and how good he is at making other people feel valued. Ryu declares that they should begin Operation Gratitude and show Hokusai their appreciation for his kindness. Reo and Shiki wonder what kind of present to give or gesture to perform to thank Hokusai when, out of nowhere, Ryu produces several sets of cat ears and says that they can all be kitties for him. Reo and Ryu are enthused, but Shiki is embarrassed to participate. When they welcome Hokusai back, he finds them all very cute and pats them all on the head. So those are the stories and songs of the Shuffle Team show. They're a lot of fun and offer both interesting musical content, where different group styles are combined, and additional character interaction that helps flesh out their behavior outside of their usual comfort zones. I'm personally sort of disappointed we didn't get the adults group or the high schoolers group, because I've really liked those groupings since the Justice and exhibition show dramas. In terms of songs, though, my favorites have to be Gita Gita Candy Night and Double Trouble. The line, Club Candy Ikitosen, or Club Candy Might of 1,000 Warriors, is just absolutely peak, and Double Trouble has such a cool old school vibe. Also, special mention to Why Do You Like Me, in which Satsuki just bares his heart and soul to Anne, and Anne basically responds, lol, K, a moment of silence for our boy Satsuki. Many fans, myself included, also hold out hope that we'll get another shuffle event in the future, with the new teams, but for now we'll have to be satisfied with the new album coming out in March. I am very curious to see where the story will be going from there. Anyway, I'll be back in my next video to introduce the new units, though I guess I'll probably start with Buraikan, which canonically is the original Phantom live unit. Either way, I'll catch you all next time. Take care, heads.